BRICS institution. I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to formalize this. We had wanted to have somebody from government, somebody from academia, and a benchmarking like country like India. So right here, I would like to start with Dr. Libya because he's supposed to move very quick. I will just be asking him a simple question, like what is his perspective with regards to BRIC and the fact that now we are also expanding it and we are having other African countries and thinking about a consortium and from where he's coming from. What is his perspective? Does he think this is gonna work, and what can be the modality, and who should be involved? Then we will do it the other way around. Tato will tell us about the institution afterwards because I want Dr. Livia to be excused. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. And thanks for everyone's patience. I must do that. Oh, okay, him. Okay. Thank you. I must tell you, age is catching up with me. I've been trying to look strong, but it's not happening. What I can say about the BRICS and my perspective is this. I really see BRICS mainly as an opportunity for us in the SME type of enterprises, and also for increasing the value and the impact of what we are doing in terms of getting your products or your services where you need to be. During the BRICS now, we had an exhibition, DSI sponsored and TIA, thanks to them. And we had a lot of discussions, even including what is it that we have within the African continent. This was with the Chinese colleagues. Actually, for October, I was supposed to go there for 21 days, which was Beijing and the other place by the coast and whatever. The only reason I couldn't go is because with my small company, there was no way I could leave the country for 21 days. It just doesn't happen. But what was it about? It was, what is the work that you are doing? What is it that we do? What are the synergies between the two? And if we were to increase the offtake of the livestock that we do in Africa, what can we work together on to make sure that is there? And in it already, you are improving your technologies, you are getting new offtake market, you are getting things that it was paid for. I couldn't afford it for 21 days. But these are some, to me, of the opportunities that I think BRICS opens. And I'll give you another examples. We have colleagues in Zambia that have already the possibility to export their quail to the UAE. We have a group already in South Africa with the ostrich that already want to send their ostrich to Saudi Arabia, which is open for our poultry. Even though those are open, it means for small companies like mine, you have to work on the surveillance, on the checking of the disease, and getting the Minister of Agriculture to vet it. This is opening of new markets. And how do you do that? You have to work also with the people within the same countries to try and say, how do we maximize the opportunities that are there? So the expansion itself, to me, was a big market, especially on the livestock and beef commodities, because let's face it, between Iran and Saudi Arabia and the UAE, there is no cows. There's just no animals. So unless you're counting camels and others, it means we are able to get the things that we need to get and take them there in the standards that we need. So more than anything else, you still have AGOA, you still have the UK Open, you have EU. The standards has to be the same, but the way in which you work with your market and the opportunities that open is just completely different. And I think it is important to take advantage of that, but also look at within those institutes, who can you work with to make sure that you strengthen your business, both in terms of the products, the services, and the commodities that can go back and forth between those two countries. I think I'm going to take advantage of that she's gone and keep talking. We had a Bio Africa conference in February, I think. No, Bio Asia in February in Hyderabad. I had the privilege to go there, and we were able to discuss with the FABA, that's the Federated Association of Biotechnology Association, something like that, with the Prof at Hyderabad University because they host it. And one of the things we were able to do there is talk to Neodex, talk to some of the guys there. We were able to run at least 2 courses jointly with the Indians to say, this is some of the things we are advanced and way ahead with. We had to look for some SMEs here and some of the students that went through and actually enjoyed and learned a lot. We were supposed to have some of them here, but due to logistical reasons, they were not able to come, but they promised to come next year. Neodex is one of the companies that makes your hepatitis and your HIV multiplex kits, and validated and run in India. We are busy now working on a program with them to say, if this is what is required before every clinician performs an operation, how do we get it registered with SAPRA and we get our own programs run on it? So the opportunities with the orientation of BRICS just are, I couldn't say endless, but are a lot, in that you look at what is it that you're able to do and how should you do it to try and get the best out of the whole market. I think I'll do that. Without monopolizing the space, I think in her absence, I'm going to take the liberty of asking the person who was going to present to please sit down. And I'm going to give her the mic so I'm able to proceed with the things. But thank you for the time. And I'm happy to take 1 or 2 questions before I go, if there is.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Libia. Though when I went out, I don't know what you said. But I would like to check if there's anybody that has got a question for Dr. Libia. But the take-off message for me is that BRICS is an opportunity. It's an opportunity for everyone to be able maybe to grow your business, to also access some value chains. I mean, we're talking about AFCTA and whatnot. So if you are within the BRICS membership, there is an opportunity. So I don't know if there's any other person that wants to ask a question before I release Dr. Libia. He's got so many engagements. I think the message was loud and clear. Thank you very much. And on that note, Tato, I would like you to come up and tell us about what this institution is gonna be about. What is it? What's the thinking behind? And why do we need it in Africa, for that matter? And what lessons have we learned from the likes of India and China? You can speak from whatever that you have written before. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Am I audible? Okay. I probably have the pressure more than I have the pleasure of presenting this to this room, but in any case, I will try my best. My name is Tato Morokong. I'm currently with the Department of Science and Innovation. I was not the only one that was involved in the conceptualization of this document, so I think I need to preface it by saying that there was a bunch of other people that were involved in this. And I think the first thing to underscore really is that the BRICS partnership is of strategic importance to South Africa as a whole. And economic growth in BRICS has been uneven and reflecting some of the global trends that have been presented by the pandemic. But over and above that, I think that the reason behind BRICS countries' involvement in Africa also includes an interest to develop the African continent as a whole. And that is something that also the minister really highlighted in his intervention, that the department really prioritizes a Pan-African science, technology, and innovation agenda. And this is also found in our decadal plan on science, technology, and innovation, which we call our 10-year innovation plan, essentially. So following that, really this sort of BRICS Africa initiative was sort of conceptualized as one of the legacy initiatives of South Africa's chairmanship of BRICS, also considering that we have a series of sort of BRICS country Africa summits. So we have the Russia Africa Summit, we have the China Africa Summit, we also have the India Africa Summit. And really at the conceptualization of this was a number of strategic areas around export promotion and the creation of value-added goods and services in the continent, as well as greater investment in science, technology, and innovation. And following that, the working group really looked at the different Africa summits and then conceptualized and drew some of the priority areas of such a BRICS Africa partnership that was eventually presented at the BRICS ministerial, which was held in Gqeberha just a month ago. And some of the sort of focal areas or sort of areas of exploitation that could leverage economic growth included renewable energy, agriculture with a focus on agro-processing, which was discussed at length in the previous session on the African Continental Free Trade Area, industrialization and expansion of mineral value chains, development of manufacturing capabilities for health innovation and vaccine development, which was quite a big priority, as well as future-proofing societies for future pandemics, Earth observation, and the hydrogen economy. And really the BRICS Africa partnership, which is still in conceptualization, seeks to strive towards pragmatic steps really of policy implementation from an innovation and industrialization perspective by advancing technology commercialization, technology transfer, the support of young innovators as well, which is quite a prevalent topic at this meeting, as well as stimulating the scale-up and expansion of tech startups and support of early career researchers as well. And following that, as part of the BRICS Africa partnership was the sort of issue of the establishment of an Institute of Natural Medicines. And I think this is something that I need to also highlight, that it's still also being currently conceptualized at BRICS level, also following the convening of the BRICS Young Scientist Forum. And really, against this background, the establishment of what is coined the BRICS Institute for Training, Research and Innovation in Natural Medicines was proposed around the interface of natural medicines into the national health and innovation systems, research and development, teaching and learning, focusing on commercialization as well as clinical application. And I think also following sort of the discussions of this convention was the importance of the utilization of indigenous knowledge systems and the standardization of indigenous knowledge systems. And the vision of such an institution really seeks to create a world-class, safe, quality as well as efficient natural medicines, and employing natural medicines, research, innovation and commercialization for socio-economic benefit for the participating countries, focusing also on issues such as technology transfer, commercialization, and many others. And I think the value proposition then is around sort of that common goal that we seek to eventually see the uptake of indigenous medicines being utilized and commercialized, and IPs retained also for the African continent. So I think in the interest of time, I'll keep it here, and thank you very much, and happy to answer the questions that may emerge. Thank you.
Thank you, Tato. That was so good. Like Tato said, the thinking is to have a consortium in South Africa that will be comprised of some different role players. You know, we've got some knowledge holders, we've got people in the academic institutions working on IKS, and we already have a standing consortium in South Africa. We are still conceptualizing where would it really sit and our issues that we're asking ourselves in terms of benefit sharing, IP, and all those. So for us to get it right, we thought there are countries that are already have gone past what we are doing, the likes of India. Hence, we have Prof in our midst just to give us a perspective of how India did it. And as we beef up our concept document, we will be taking those lessons. Can we spare the questions for the last round and give Prof an opportunity to present first? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for this opportunity. Um, Besides what India can do on this, I'm just going to tell you mostly about ICGB, what ICGB can do in it, because ICGB's presence in South Africa, ICGB presence in India, and and all the BRICS country actually. So I'm going to tell you more about what ICGB is doing at this moment. Probably some of you may not have been in the last session that was dedicated to ICGB internationalization. So I'm going to just give you a brief about ICGB and then perhaps tell you what ICGB can do and also something that India has achieved. Okay. Right. Okay. So ICGB is basically International Center for Genetic Engineering and Biotechnology. It's a UN organization. There are 60 plus member states. There are 80 plus countries that are interested in this ICGB research activities. There are 3 research components, which we call them as a host countries. Italy, India, and South Africa. So these are where the research is happening at this moment, where we do not only the research, but also training and various activities that I'm going to just tell you. As you will see, the countries among ICGB members, they are all the BRICS countries. So you have Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. So they are part of all ICGB. And also we have new regional research centers that are coming up, which ICGB is academically supporting for establishing. One is in China, and very new one is going to come up in Kenya. So ICGB is very keenly, supporting academically all the activities in biotechnology in the BRICS countries. So ICGB basically started as a spatial UNIDO project in, in between 1983 to 1995, and then right now it is an independent international intergovernmental organization. And the whole, mandate is research, training, and technology transfer in the life sciences to promote sustainable global development. There are 6 different areas in which it makes the tangible impacts. I'm going to just take you through it. So one is that I told you that it does a cutting edge research in the components like Trieste, New Delhi, Cape Town in the area of genetic engineering and biotechnology. It provides fellowships to the member countries' candidates for long-term, short-term doing PhD or the postdocs. It also provides funds for organizing meeting, courses, and workshops at all the member countries at the international level. It also provides grants. We call them as COP grants for doing, cutting-edge research in the member countries. It also provides technologies that are developed in various research centers to its member countries. It can be transferred, and then various technical assistance in regulation of biotechnology and its product. So this is just to tell you that at this moment, there are almost 360 candidates which are pursuing postdoctoral fellowships and PhD fellowships on ICGB funds. So they are basically at different parts, and they are listed at this moment in different. So from Africa itself, there are 33 to 36 candidates that are currently doing PhDs in various components. These are different fellowships and programs that are funded through ICGB. We call them North-South Training, Empower Fellowships, and there is a V-Star, which is again for the African Women Scientist Training Fellowship. And then we have a BIOTECH net, especially for Ethiopia, and there's one more country which I don't remember. So there are 2 African countries. So a lot of fellowships and schemes that are going on via ICGB to train people from African continent. And these are the research grants. Again, these are currently, these research grants are called collaborative research program. The whole idea is that all the member countries, people can compete with these grants. They establish their lab. There's an early career research grant as well at their own country, so that you can avoid brain drain happening. ICGB funds meetings and courses that are different, in a single year, almost 27 to 30 different meetings are being funded in different countries. Like, for example, in 2022, there were 19 different countries that were funded for conducting meetings and courses. Technology development and transfer is one of the goals. So there are so far 110 agreement that has happened. There are various, even COVID-related technologies that have been generated and transferred, and online training also that happens. So coming to the area of research, so those were basically a broader support that ICGB provides. Now, the kind of area in which ICGB research groups are involved. So there are total 51 research groups, including 3 research components that I told in Italy, Trieste, in Cape Town, and in New Delhi. So total 51 groups. So they are broadly categorized in these 5 areas. So infectious disease, which looks at parasitic disease and virology, non-communicable diseases, where the PIs study immunology, neurobiology, cancer, cardiovascular disorders, molecular genetics. Then we have a medical biotechnology, where the PIs study on biotherapeutic products, translational health, computational biology are integrated in this. Then you have a functional cell biology and bioinformatics. There is an industrial biotechnology group where I belong to, where different products are being worked upon and developed, like biofuels and various molecules of industrial interest. Then we have a very strong plant biology and biotechnology group who works on the crop improvement, biotech, abiotic stress, plant system, biology, regulatory sciences. So all these strengths are available in ICGB for training people coming from its member country. And these are some of the examples I've given. So there are very, very strong research which is going on in New Delhi component on combating antimicrobial resistance among bacterial pathogens. There are BSL-3 facilities, very high-end BSL-3 facilities, which we have used. This facility have been also very useful during COVID period to screen the samples. Even during the COVID, ICGB got funding along with various African member countries to develop and use diagnostic tools for quick detection of the COVID. So that funding came from Bill and Melinda Foundation, Gates Foundation, and also probably NEB was involved in that. Okay, so what is it? So the whole idea was how can ICGB be instrumental in this new institute that are going to be established, which is BRICS Institute of Natural Medicine. So, of course, ICGB has a very deep science, that are established in all the 3 components. There are multiple groups that are working in the human health area. They have not only, gone through a fundamental science, but also developed many technologies that I'm not showing at this moment. So these actually can be very, very helpful. And in fact, ICGB has also supported many African proposals which are on the natural medicine. So of course it is proactively supporting the research on natural medicine. And of course ICGB will be happy to extend scientific and technological support to the BRICS Institute, which is going to be established. And one major thing that probably would be useful when we are establishing this institute is the standardization of the reagent, which for the natural medicine it becomes a major challenge, and that probably could be through the development and use of the infrastructure of ICGB it could be done. And then of course the basis of action of natural medicine, many times we know that medicine is working, the natural medicine, but we don't know the scientific basis of its action. And that becomes very challenging. So those are something that ICGB can becomes very useful in terms of understanding the action of medicine, in fact understanding what are the actual ingredients. There are some research going on in ICGB New Delhi. Coming to India, so India has a whole natural ministry now. It's called Ayush Ministry, which basically is a combination of all natural sciences, so there's a Ayurveda, there's a homeopathic, there's a Unani, and there are many other. India is also traditionally very well known for the natural medicine. So to promote that field, India has actually created a new ministry, and they support research to look at the scientific knowledge that could be acquired on, for example, on the basis how it works and all that. So ICGB New Delhi also has a couple of projects who is focusing on, understanding the reason behind how the medicine is working so that you can rationalize the use of medicine. So of course, with all this, we'll be very happy to look forward how we can work together on establishing this particular institute. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Prof. And India succeeded in having an institution on natural medicines. If I heard you well, you said you've got a ministry that deals with that. We still have a long way. We still have a long way. But these are the lessons that we want to learn so that as we embark on this, we know how others succeeded, because we thought we could do this within the DSI, but it looks like it's bigger than us. Perhaps the consortium will assist us. I know I had said I will take the questions afterwards. Now is the time. Anyone who's got a question, you are free to engage. If you have any question that you want to ask. Thank you.
So, my name is ICGB session that happened previously. Can I ask one? Yeah, I think the question goes there, but I believe your input will be there, Mrs. Linde. Yeah. So what I want to ask is, Prof. Sham did mention about the deregulation of the crops, which actually comes via genome editing. In the process of doing that, are we learning something from India or Han? Also, the question to Shams is, how did they do that? That's the major thing. Yeah.
Maybe the last question I will, and the first question you will. So how did we do that? So we did that by hundreds of scientists asking this question to the regulator every meeting. that how are we going to move forward in dealing with the situation of the future, if there are hungers, if there are, the new need for the food, and the country like India is a huge population, is not unknown. I mean, it's very obvious. So scientifically, it's very clear that genome editing can make a difference without making any, adverse impact to either the plant or the environment or to the human being. So on the case-to-case basis, it was very clear that genome editing, if you do single, single nucleotide editing or two nucleotide editing, and you ensure that your genome sequence does not have any foreign gene element in it, that's all you want. I mean, how is it going to be having any issues? So those kind of things, scientifically relevant thing that was convinced to the regulator, and they discussed through the ministries and all that. And I must say that the present, regulators and the governments are very proactively taking up these issues for the, solving solution.
What a difficult question for me. But I can promise that I can link you with her, because I don't want to give you wrong information. It's a very sensitive issue, but I think as government is something that we're also looking at. And of course we do work with India, and we are learning a lot from them. We have a number of projects with India, and I guess some of the discussions that we have with them are really related to the questions that you are asking. But because you want to know from a government perspective what our position is, I think I can then really relate you to the people who are responsible for implementing the bioeconomy strategy, and of course relating it to the lessons from India. But I don't want to misinterpret anything and be quoted. Yeah. And any other question? I think this session was loud and clear. Everybody understood what was presented.
Sorry, just one more, Prof. Sham. It's like, so came to know today, I was not aware of it. And the second one is, I believe, in US. So how does, if you export something, how do the other countries take that? Do they still take it as GM, and then do we have to follow the same regulations, or do they consider it as a normal crop when you want to export something to other countries?
So it's an interesting question. So there are, I mean, the lesson is that if you use some products which are genetically modified, in your country it is not considered as genetically modified. In other countries it is considered as genetically modified and regulated. So probably you will have to go by the guideline of that particular country. You will have to see legally what is feasible and what is not feasible. So I think, for example, I guess Europe is a very strongly, so you have to probably look at, while you're growing and exporting. At this moment, India was mainly looking at to take care of its own need, because we were actually many times realized that it will become its own need of an hour to produce these kind of grains and oil, mustard and pulses for Indian need. But for exporting, I guess they will probably have to really look at what it is.
And my 2 cents again, I think it's something that we need to do responsibly, especially if we are thinking about importing. Exporting, I mean. Even we were talking about it, I think, during lunch, but my colleagues are not here from Ethiopia. Actually, they were saying they don't eat anything that is not natural. Everything that they do, they want to see the chicken. Yeah.
Organic chicken.
Exactly. I was telling them that I was surprised. I saw a cow in town, And when I asked what was the cow doing, they told me it's actually going to the butchery because it's going to be slaughtered there and be sold. People want to see that this is the cow. So you understand. So I think also issues of responsibility, and it also differs from one country to another. And maybe from the South African perspective, we also have to dig deeper, especially if we are thinking about exporting. But yeah, maybe as Africa, but you'll be surprised because Ethiopia has got the largest population, but you heard that they have their cows are even more than what we have as Namibia, South Africa, and what? And they are not genetically, or they are not doing anything. Everything is just natural. So maybe there are lessons that we can also learn from them. And yeah. Any other question? Okay, thank you very much. You have been a good audience, and thank you for rescuing us. I don't know what I was going to say to the minister if this session had not taken place, because it is close to his heart, and that's why he even announced it yesterday. But because of the confusion, yeah, though we started late, thank you for your perseverance, and we will keep in touch and we'll keep on talking. These are interesting topics, and watch out for the institution in one of the academic institutions in the near future. Thank you.